Apatheia is usually translated into English as freedom from passion, but that doesn't really do it justice because it is not just about suppressing our emotions or becoming a robot without feelings. Epictetus says this in his letter to Menicius. He says, "What kind of life is it to be free of passions? If it means being without sensations and perception, we should be like statues or plants. No man can harm you. No God can harm you. There is nothing in the nature of things that can harm you." Well, the first thing you have to do is accept responsibility. It allows you to be free and fearless and great, and it's something that everyone can develop with practice and perseverance. Thanks for watching. You have to admit that everything that happens to you is within your control. You get to choose how you react to things. You get to choose what things mean to you. You get to choose how you respond. You get to choose whether or not you're going to be a victim or a hero. And the Stoics talked about four main emotions that we need to develop. First, you want to develop wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to see things clearly, to understand the nature of reality, to understand that everything changes, that death is inevitable, that you're not in control of everything, and to detach yourself from things that don't matter. You want to cultivate courage. Courage is the ability to do what needs to be done, to face your fears, to stand up for what's right, to defend yourself and others, and to be brave in the face of danger and uncertainty. Then you want to cultivate justice. Justice is the ability to be fair and impartial, to treat others as you want to be treated, to be honest and trustworthy, and to do what's right regardless of the consequences. And lastly, you want to cultivate temperance or self-control. Temperance is the ability to resist temptation, to stay focused on what's important, to be disciplined and self-aware, and to avoid excess and indulgence. By cultivating these four emotions, wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control, you'll be able to handle whatever life throws at you. You'll be able to face any challenge with a clear head and a steady heart, and you'll be able to live a virtuous and fulfilling life. And of course, he's wrong. Things can harm us. Things can scare us. Things can hurt us. But if we become slaves to our fear, then those things will indeed harm us. But if we can step back from our fear, if we can control our fear, we can use it. We can transform it. Seneca says this: when a great fear comes upon you, ask yourself, is this impression from a real danger? Or is it from a danger only in your mind? When you have carefully distinguished the part that is actual from that which is merely imaginary, you will find that many things that you feared never existed. One of the most painful things I ever went through was losing my dad when I was 24 years old. And after he died, I was scared. I was scared to go to sleep. I didn't want to fall asleep because I didn't want to dream about him. I didn't want to dream of being happy to see him, and then waking up and realizing that he was dead. But I couldn't escape my fear. I couldn't run from it. I couldn't pretend that he was still alive. I couldn't let myself grieve and move forward. And so I suffered for months. I wasted away. I lost weight. I was just suffering needlessly because I wouldn't let myself feel my emotions. And when I finally did, I realized something. My dad would want me to be happy. He would want me to laugh and smile and enjoy my life. He wouldn't want me to be in pain. He wouldn't want me wasting away over the loss of him. And once I realized that, I started feeling better. I was able to move on and honor my dad by living the best life I could. So, when we learn to control our emotions, we stop letting them control us. And that gives us an incredible amount of power over ourselves and over other people. And how could anyone choose that? Instead, the Stoics thought that apathy was about having control over your emotions, not an absence of emotions. The Stoics observed that the people who accomplished great things, the people who achieved greatness, were people who were not slaves to their emotions. People like Alexander the Great, like Ulysses, like Caesar, like the great kings and generals of their day. They weren't people who ran from battle or froze in the face of adversity. They were people who were able to remain calm and in control and act heroically. In fact, one of the big differences between the Stoics and the Epicureans was this idea of apathy. Epictetus said that the goal was to be free from passion. But Zeno said, no, you shouldn't be free from passion. You should be free to have the right passion at the right time. And the Stoics believed that this is what made heroes. It wasn't just the strength of their body or the sharpness of their sword. It was the strength of their soul. And that's why we tell stories about these people today. It's why they live on in our history. It's not because they were rich or powerful or famous, but because they were humble and courageous and calm in the face of death. They knew that death was inevitable. They knew that they could be killed at any moment. And so they lived each day as if it was their last. They were in control of themselves. And that made them truly powerful. It is about choosing which emotions to have at any given time instead of just being a slave to whatever emotion comes up. You can be passionate, but your passion can be controlled. That's the key. And they believed that this emotional control was a superpower. It allowed you to be fearless and free, and it gave you immense power over yourself and over other people. It even allowed you to achieve greatness, and they had good reasons for thinking this. In fact, according to the Stoics, emotions are what make us human. Why do I believe that emotional control is a superpower? Well, first, it makes you free. The Stoics would say that there are two kinds of people in the world, the blind and the seeing. Now, when you hear that, you might think, okay, obviously one of these is physically blind and the other is not. Obviously, that's the difference. But the Stoics would say, no, both of these people are physically seen. Both of these people can look around and see what's going on in the physical world. But one of these people is emotionally blind. Their vision is clouded by their emotions. They don't see clearly. They make bad decisions. They get swept up in things that don't matter. So what does the seeing person see that the blind person doesn't? Well, he sees that everything that happens to me is within my control. Everything that happens to me I chose. In a way, the Stoics believe that we create our own chains. We lock ourselves in emotional chains. We allow fear to control us. We allow desire to control us. And when we're free of those chains, then we're free. When we can see clearly, then we can act rationally. We can act in accordance with nature, and we can live virtuously. That is what it means to be free. And that's why the Stoics associated apathy with freedom. In today's video, I want to share with you 3 of them. Second, emotional control makes you fearless. Marcus Aurelius says, the key is to have no fear of whatsoever happens to you. Fear is the pathway to all evil. And third, it makes you great. So how do you develop this superpower? How do you develop this emotional control? So remember, brothers and sisters, emotional control is a superpower.